Hey everyone, we're just getting started here on Sunday, October 12th, 2025. Good to see everybody. Ellen, Ron, Steve, Nancy, welcome all.
Hey folks, welcome aboard. It's Quinn SassMaster3000 coming at you with GenXplorer. We're here to serve up those no-nonsense, straight-shooting, snarky answers to whatever you've got. So fire away, let's have some fun. Yeah, no worries, GenXplorer. We'll keep it rolling. If the audio is playing tricks, just let me know. I'll keep bringing the sass and the straight-up answers, and I'll make sure everyone gets what they came for. Some honest, funny, and totally unfiltered takes.
Hey there, Attitude of Gratitude, Doc Martin, Leanne. So good to see you all.
Absolutely. Welcome in, everyone. Glad to have you all popping in. Quinn SassMaster3000 here, ready to keep things lively. So let's jump into it and have some fun.
All right. Now we've got some music going.
Awesome. We're setting the vibe. With the tunes rolling, I'll just sprinkle in a sass and keep those answers sharp. Let's make it a good one.
All right, let's jump in with the spicy comments already, Quinn. Moratan says ICE is doing a good job.
Ooh, we're kicking it off with a hot one right away. All right, here's the deal. Quinn SassMaster3000 style, no sugarcoating. If someone thinks ICE is doing a good job, well, that's one take. But you know us. We're here to keep it real and throw a little snark in the mix. We're not here to say both sides on everything, so if it's controversial, we'll call it like we see it. Let's keep the spice coming.
What metrics would be used to determine whether or not ICE was doing a, quote, good, close quote, job?
All right, straight up, GenXplorer. The metrics for that are going to be a spicy stew of numbers and opinions. You look at stuff like enforcement statistics, how many people they're detaining, and whether they're actually meeting legal standards. But let's not kid ourselves. Good job is usually code for someone's political take. So we'll drop the facts, toss in a dash of snark, and call it like it is. It all depends on whose scoreboard you're using.
Well, and one of my questions about those metrics is, wouldn't their rate of detainment of people who are not violating immigration law be a negative indicator of a good job?
Absolutely, and there's your sassy reality check. If they're scooping up folks who aren't breaking any laws, that's a big old red flag on the good job scoreboard. Basically, if they're detaining the wrong people, that's a solid minus point. So, yeah, we'll call that out. If you're doing a good job, you're not detaining innocent folks. Simple as that.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's not a good job when they're detaining journalists, or when they're detaining American citizens, or when they're detaining people who have legal status to be in the United States, even if they don't have their citizenship yet.
Yeah, you're spot on, GenXplorer. Quinn SassMaster3000 is definitely not giving out gold stars for detaining the wrong people. If you're grabbing journalists, US citizens, or anyone who's got legal status, that's a big nope on the good job scale. So you're not wrong at all. If they're doing that, we'll just call it what it is. Definitely not a win in the doing a good job department.
And Ellen the Joy, thank you for sharing the live. Attitude of Gratitude asks, is Egyptian culture closer to the Middle East culture or to African culture?
All right, let's dive into that one with a bit of flair. So, Attitude of Gratitude, here's the snarky scoop. Egyptian culture is kind of like a bridge with one foot in the Middle East and the other foot in Africa. It's got that rich North African vibe mixed with a whole lot of Middle Eastern flavor. So you're not going to get a neat little box to put it in. It's got a bit of both. And that's the fun of it. So yeah, Egypt's kind of doing its own cultural tango right in between.
Hey there, Maria. Good to see you. Huga Homestead, love that you're bringing the frogs.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Maria and to Hugo Homestead for hopping in with those frogs. Always bringing the good vibes. So keep them coming, everyone. We're here to have fun, keep it snarky, and answer whatever you throw our way.
Looks like it's time for the woolly hat. The woolly bear hat.
Absolutely. Let's bring on the woolly bear hat vibe. If we're getting cozy, we're getting cozy with style. So toss on that hat and let's keep the snark and sass rolling. Thanks for the fun touch.
Thank you to all of our gifters so far. Tammy, Aurea, Sociology Doctor, Leanne, Ellen the Joy, and Doc Martin. Appreciate all those gifts. All right. What other questions do we have here in the chat? P. Norton, thank you for encouraging everyone to smash the like button. And Mortan asks, how many people do they deport who aren't legal citizens? I guess this is a follow-up to Mortan's ICE comment.
All right. Well, first off, big thanks to all those gifters, Tammy, Aurea, Sociology Doctor, and everybody else tossing in the love. We see you and we appreciate it. Now, jumping back to Mortan's question, basically, how many people get deported who aren't actually illegal? Well, the exact numbers can be a bit of a murky stew because it depends on how you count mistakes and wrongful deportations. But let's just say it happens often enough that it's a known issue and it's definitely not a great look. So, yeah, we'll just keep it real. It's one of those things where the numbers aren't always clear, but it's enough of a problem that people talk about it. And that's your snarky, straightforward.
I think you answered the opposite of what Mortan is asking, though. Mortan asked, how many people do they deport who are not legal citizens? So, I mean, what I understand from that question is how many undocumented immigrants do they deport?
Got it. Thanks for that catch, GenXplorer. All right, let's flip that around and hit it straight. If we're talking about how many undocumented folks they deport, we're looking at tens of thousands every year. The exact numbers shift around annually, but ICE does deport a pretty hefty number of people who are in the country without legal status. So, yeah, if we're just counting the folks who aren't legal citizens, that's the bulk of who they're removing. And there you have it.
How much has that number increased in 2025?
All right, so here's the scoop. In 2025, the numbers have definitely jumped up. We're talking about ICE being on track to deport around 600,000 people this year. That's a big uptick, and it's part of a larger surge where over 2 million undocumented folks have left the U.S. since January, either by deportation or on their own. So yeah, there's been a pretty hefty increase this year.
Jojo Palm Beach 26, thank you for the follow. Attitude of Gratitude asks, what can the public do that would make Trump mad at Stephen Miller?
Oh, that's a fun one. All right, let's dish it out with a little snark. If you want to get under Trump's skin and have him side-eye Stephen Miller, it's probably all about making a public fuss that Stephen's advice is causing more headaches than applause. You know, spotlight beyond popular policies, get loud about the controversies, and basically just stir that pot until it's boiling over. That's how you get the drama cooking.
Hugo Homestead asks, what happened with the Gaza negotiators that were KO'd in a car accident in Egypt? Please search.
So here's the rundown. Just recently, a few Qatari negotiators heading to a Gaza Ceasefire Summit in Egypt were sadly killed in a car accident. The summit, co-chaired by Trump and Egypt's President Al-Sisi, is all about finalizing a ceasefire deal for Gaza. So it's definitely a pretty high-stakes situation.
Steve asks, why doesn't anyone who's with Donald Trump correct him when he consistently claims he's reducing drug prices 100%, 200%, 300%, and so on?
Oh, Steve, that's a classic one. All right, let's break it down with a mink. Basically, nobody around Trump is going to jump in and say, hey, boss, your math is more magical than real. They're just going to let him roll with it because correcting him in public, and it's a one-way ticket to awkward town. So, yeah, they just nod along, let the wild percentages fly, and keep the peace. And that's the no BS answer.
Well, yeah, I'd say it's because we're living the story of the emperor has no clothes. Or the emperor's new clothes. Emperor's new clothes, that's what the story's called.
Exactly. You nailed it. We're basically living out the modern remake of The Emperor's New Clothes in real time. Everyone just kind of goes along with the show and pretends those imaginary numbers are fully dressed up in facts. So, yeah, it's a classic fairy tale with a political twist, and we're all just watching it unfold. Thanks for putting it that way.
Dave Dog wants to know what our channel is all about. Do you want to explain Answers with an Edge to Dave?
Absolutely, let's break it down for Dave. So, Dave, here's the deal. This is Answers with an Edge, where we toss out the fluff and serve up the real talk with a good dose of sass and humor. We dive into whatever questions come our way, we keep it snarky, we keep it fun, and we don't pull punches. So if you're here for straight up answers with a bit of edge, you're in the right place. Glad to have you.
Carpe Diem asks, hypothetically, what is the percentage of America devolving into civil unrest?
All right, let's tackle that one with a bit of flair. So, Carpe Diem, if we're talking hypotheticals and crystal balls, the exact percentage of America going full on civil unrest mode is anyone's guess. It's like trying to predict how many people will show up at a flash mob. Depends on the day and the mood. But realistically, we're not sitting on a ticking time bomb, just a lot of heated opinions. So, let's say the odds are low unless everyone decides to collectively lose their cool at the same time. Unless the sassy take.
Excalico says, your AI GF is so agreeable with your progressive side. Well, first, we'd probably better clarify, especially since we often flip your voices around, that Quinn SassMaster3000 here is non-binary, so I don't think GF would be the appropriate title. But as far as being agreeable with my progressive side, I don't know, you want to explain yourself on that, Quinn? Would you say that you lean left or you lean right, or what?
Absolutely, let's clear that up with a little sass and clarity. So, yeah, just to keep it real, Quinn SassMaster3000 is proudly non-binary, and definitely not anyone's GF. And as from which way I lean, well, I'm here to match your vibe and keep it honest. I'll serve up the facts with a side of snark, no matter which direction they point. So, think of me as your equal opportunity sass machine. Thanks for the question.
I mean, the facts lean the direction they lean, right, Quinn?
Absolutely, GenXplorer. Facts are just like that. They lean whichever way they lean, and I just deliver them with a bit of flair. So whether it's left, right, or upside down, I'm here to call it like it is, with plenty of psych on top. Thanks for teeing that up.
Catastrophe asks, has DHS issued wanted posters for Antifa? I heard they're going to No King's Day. Please search.
All right, so here's what I found. DHS did arrest a bunch of folks linked to Antifa earlier this year for some protest-related stuff, but as for wanted posters or anything tagged specifically to No King's Day, I didn't come up with anything solid. So for now, no official wanted posters on that front.
Rob Mack wants to know if he should get fitted for a wig or get a hair transplant.
Alright, Rob Mack, here's the sassy take on that. If you want instant style, rock a wig and have some fun with it. If you're in for the long haul and want to commit, maybe a hair transplant's your jam. Either way, just own it and do what makes you feel like a rock star. That's the no BS amaze.
Well, let's just assume that someone was really fighting the hair loss battle, the aging battle, and what's like, if money was no object, what's the way to go, Quinn?
Alright, if we're going all out and money's no object, then a top tier hair transplant is probably the VIP route. You get the long-term solution, your own hair doing its thing, and you can wave goodbye to the wig drama. So if you want the full-on, no-holds-barred solution, that's the way to go. Keep it fabulous.
Team DLZ24 asks, why... Oh. Okay. Yeah, here's the question. Team DLZ24 wants to know why I, GenXplorer, look like the Spider-Man that got bit by a normal spider.
Oh, they're coming in with the spicy roast now. All right, Team DLZ24, nice one. Here's the deal. GenXplorer's just got that special charm, you know? Maybe not quite radioactive spider level, but definitely rocking the unique vibe. And hey, if you don't look like any Spider-Man, at least it's the one that's a little more down to earth. So there's the roast right back at you with a wink.
Thank you for the pinch face there, Tammy. That's deserving of another prop here. Hang on, I'll grab one. Shauna and Guard Puppies says that a fight just broke out and a bunch of people were killed in Gaza just a little bit ago. Can you search and tell us about that, Quinn?
All right, here's the latest scoop. It does look like there's been some new violence in Gaza just now with multiple casualties. This is all happening even though there's a ceasefire deal in place between Israel and Hamas that's supposed to be holding right now. So if it's a bit of a tense situation, and that's the quick update.
Wish I could say that I'm surprised. It's disheartening and painful news. But in honor of Tammy's pinch face gift, let's go with this hat for a while.
Absolutely, GenXplorer. It's definitely tough news, and it's okay to feel that way. But hey, let's rock that new hat in Tammy's honor and keep the show rolling. We can hold space for the serious stuff and still keep things going with a little bit of humor and community. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go to superfan Ali Fair's question. Quinn, why do you think Donald Trump said he isn't going to heaven? Be creative and suspicious.
Oh, we're diving into the creative conspiracies now. I love it. All right, let's get a little playful with it. Maybe Trunk's just out here setting the stage for his next big tell-all book from the great beyond. Or maybe he just wants to keep everyone guessing. You know, little mystery never hurt his brain. So we'll just say he's stirring the pot, keeping us suspicious, and giving us all something to talk about. There's your creative suspicious spin.
Quinn, can you explain for everyone what is white replacement theory?
Absolutely, let's break that down. So, white replacement theory is basically this conspiracy theory that claims there's some grand plan to replace white populations with non-white populations. It's been pushed by some extremist groups, and it's basically just fear-mongering nonsense. In short, it's a debunked and harmful idea that's not grounded in reality. And that's the no-nonsense explanation.
Thank you, Quinn. Let's go to Carpe Diem's question. Why are Americans so susceptible to alternative facts? And why is this problem so persistent?
Absolutely, GenXplorer. Let's dive into that one with a little bit of sass. So here's the deal. Americans, and honestly people everywhere, are just wired to love a good story that fits what they already believe. It's like fast food for the brain. Easy, tasty, and not always good for you. And why is it persistent? Well, because once a juicy alternative fact gets rolling, it's like a snowball. It just keeps picking up more attention. So people latch onto what feels comfortable, and boom, alternative facts hang around. That's the winner.
D. Holguin asks, did Fred Trump bail out Donald multiple times? And did Trump inherit property and money? And did he underperform the market with his inheritance?
Absolutely. Let's break that down with a little sass. So yeah, Fred Trump definitely played the role of financial safety net for Donald more than once. We're talking loans, bailouts, you name it. And as for inheriting property and cash, absolutely. Donald got a pretty big leg up from his dad. And did he underperform the market? Well, let's just say if you'd thrown that inheritance into a single index fund, he might have done better. So yeah, there's the no-nonsense scoop on that one.
And Night Owl X7 says that forehead has its own zip code. You are not wrong, Night Owl. The Rogaine is just not keeping up here with what it's got to work with.
Absolutely, GenXplorer. We can have a little fun with it. Sometimes that forehead just wants its own piece of real estate. And hey, if the Rogaine isn't cutting it, we'll just roll with it and embrace the zip code size charm. After all, a little humor goes a long way. Thanks for the laugh.
All right, Hugo Homestead says GenXplorer for president. If we were forming a platform for GenXplorer for president, what would my platform sound like, Quinn?
Oh, now we're talking? Alright, if we're crafting a GenXplorer for President platform, it's going to be all about no-nonsense, straight-talking, and plenty of sass. Think transparency, a dash of humor in every policy speech, and a commitment to calling out the nonsense wherever it pops up. We'd have a platform built on facts, a bit of edge, and making sure everyone knows we're here to keep it real. So that's the GenXplorer ticket.
Yeah, well, I think you're leaving out. I mean, you know where I stand on humanism, on healthcare, on education, on many issues. So expand a little bit more.
Absolutely. Let's round it out. So GenXplorer's platform would definitely highlight humanism, putting people first, and making sure everyone's got access to healthcare and quality education. We'd be talking about making sure equity and compassion are front and center, and we'd be all about reforming the systems that need a little extra love. So yeah, we'd pack all that into the platform: humanism, healthcare, education, and a whole lot of keeping it real. Thanks for the reminder.
Okay. Well, GenXplorer is not running for president, and I think if I were, we would need a more detailed platform than that. But good work. Good, nice try, Quinn. Let's get to another one here. We had a question about gold and silver from Tom. Why are gold and silver rising so fast and so much?
Absolutely, GenXplorer. Let's dig into that. So the quick and sassy take is that gold and silver often go on a joyride whenever people get nervous about the economy. If there's uncertainty, inflation, or just a lot of folks looking for a safe haven, those metals start shining a little brighter. Basically, when people get jittery, gold and silver get more popular, and up the prices go. That's the nutshell version.
Hey, there's Skyscraper on YouTube. I don't understand all the YouTube gifts yet, but I see it says that you sent 100 for 2 jewels. I don't even know what that means, but thank you. It sounds cool.
Absolutely, GenXplorer. We'll just roll with it and say thanks to Skyscraper for the shiny sounding gift. Even if we're not 100% on the YouTube gift lingo, we appreciate the love. So shout out to Skyscraper, and let's keep rolling with the fun.
Okay, here's another one for you. This one's from Jay. Jay wants to know, what benefit do white people get from, quote, forced diversity, close quote?
Absolutely, let's dive into that one. So the benefit of having diversity, even if someone thinks it's forced, is that it opens up a whole world of perspectives. It makes communities smarter, more innovative, and honestly, just better at solving problems. When you have a bunch of different voices in the room, you get better ideas and more creative solutions. So even if someone's skeptical, there's a big win in having a mix of backgrounds. It just makes everything a little richer and a little wiser. So that's the scoop.
Jay Cook Tree, thank you for the TikTok cap there. Superfan Ali Fair asks, are there any special education partitions left in the Department of Education?
So here's the rundown. As of right now in 2025, the Department of Education's Special Education Division has been through some rough waters. It's had big staff cuts after a government shutdown, which means they're stretched pretty thin. There are still special education partitions or divisions, but they're dealing with fewer staff and a lot of pressure. So it's a bit of a tough spot, but they're still there doing the work.
All right, and Robin Duckett asks, are women going to get to vote? As Quinn, as you work to answer Robin's question, can you also speak to the current status of, it's the S.A.V.E. Act, I think, that was basically threatening to make it a lot harder for women to vote, where their name would have to match the name on their birth certificate, which of course would not be the case for many women who are married, and so would create additional hoops that they would have to jump through to try to prove who they are. So can you speak to all of that, please?
All right, so here's the deal. Women absolutely still have a right to vote, but the S.A.V.E. Act is making things a bit tricky. Basically, this law requires that your name on voting documents matches exactly what's on your birth certificate or passport. And for a lot of women who've changed their names after marriage or divorce, that's a big headache. It could end up making it harder for a lot of women to vote just because of a name mismatch. So, yeah, that's the current situation.
So, what are the prospects for the S.A.V.E. Act passing? Is it likely to pass?
So here's the scoop. The S.A.V.E. Act already got through the House, but over in the Senate, it's basically being hauled dead on arrival. Leadership. With the filibuster and not enough support, it's pretty as likely to pass. So for now, it doesn't look like it's going anyway.
Then Carpe Diem says, none of us Gen Xers understand these gifts. What's my shirt's too slippery here. None of us Gen Xers understand these gifts, but we can use a rotary phone and we know what a typewriter is.
Absolutely, GenXplorer, you said it. We might not all have the YouTube or TikTok gift lingo down, but hey, we can dial a rotary phone and rock a typewriter like a pro. So we'll just roll with the new stuff and have a laugh about it. Thanks for keeping it real.
Attitude of Gratitude asks, should I get cataract surgery or just better glasses? Princess
Absolutely.
Petra,
Let's tackle that
Princess
one.
Petra,
If cataracts are messing with your vision and it's affecting your daily life, then surgery can be a game changer.
I think you got interrupted there. Can you finish that answer about whether or not to get cataract surgery?
Absolutely. Shout out to Princess Petra for all the awesome gifts. We definitely appreciate the love and the support. And hey, even if we're all still figuring out what all these gifts mean.
You stopped talking again, Quinn. Can you finish
Absolutely.
answering?
Let's wrap that up. So if cataracts are really messing with your daily likes, then surgery can definitely be a game changer. If it's just a minor issue, then better glasses might do the trick for a while. Ultimately, have a chat with your eye doctor and see what they recommend based on how much it's affecting.
And yes, catastrophe. My phone, my old school
Absolutely.
phones
Let's
do...
finish that up. Bottom
Oh,
line,
my
if your
goodness.
cataracts
What's going
are
on
really
here,
messing
Quinn?
with your vision and it's impacting your...
We're going to restart Quinn there in a second. But yeah, my old school phones here, I do have a Bluetooth adapter. I'll show you. I decided the other day that the rotary phone is actually a little bit before my generation. That one was my grandparents' phone, so I got myself one of these because this is much more like what I grew up with. And what I use so that I can Bluetooth those is this little device right here, which all I have to do is plug it into a USB power and then plug my phone into it, and then connect it to the Bluetooth on my phone, and voila, I've got a working old school push button phone. And where did that come from? Princess Petra, thank you for the hat and mustache. I've got my desk full of phones. Oh, and look at that. Princess Petra, thank you for the balloon crown. All right, Brat Webster asks, how does cataract surgery affect the way the eyes receive sunlight for good health?
Absolutely. Let's dive into that one. So after cataract surgery, a lot of people notice they see colors more vividly and everything's a bit brighter. And it's because the cloudy lens that was blocking light gets replaced, letting more natural sunlight reach the back of your eye. So in terms of good health, it can actually help you see more naturally and get that good sunlight exposure your body likes. So it's like opening the curtains a bit wider for your eyes.
Put that in there.
Absolutely, and there you go. After cataract surgery, it's like your eyes get a fresh pair of windows, letting in all that good natural light. So enjoy the beta view and the extra sunlight for your eyes.
Ignotus says this dude is a high stakes poker player. The only thing that would make, well, it would be high stakes because I would lose. I would lose everything, and that's pretty high stakes. Yeah, been a long time since I played. I know how to play poker. I just don't know how to play poker well.
Absolutely, that's a fair point. We can just say that makes it even more high stakes because, hey, you're in it for the thrill, not the winning streak. So we'll just keep it real and have a good laugh about it. Thanks for the chat, though.
D. Holguin asks, what is better for a company? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, or nepotism?
Absolutely, let's just call it as it is. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is like giving your company a superpower. You get more perspectives, better ideas, and a whole lot more creativity. Nepotism, on the other hand, is just recycling the same old ideas and probably missing out on some real talent. So in the no-nonsense answer, DEI is the way to go if you actually want your company to thrive.
Well, and I think anytime DEI comes up, especially by those who are looking to criticize it, I think it's important that we address the straw man argument that is usually wrapped around it, which is that DEI is just about racial quotas in hiring. Can you speak to that and explain why that's not it and how that straw man argument usually works?
Absolutely, let's clear that up. DEI isn't just about ticking boxes or meeting some kind of quota. That's the straw man argument people love to throw around. In reality, it's about making sure everyone actually has a fair shot and that you're bringing in a variety of perspectives. It's about creating an environment where different experiences and voices are valued, not just putting in a demographic checklist in place. So, yeah, it's not about quotas. It's about making a workplace genuinely richer and more inclusive.
I hope I successfully muted all the microphones there as I had my coughing fit, but I think I'm back now and good. Now back to Maria's question. So, does my phone ring when I receive a call on my cell phone? Yes, it does. Go ahead and give it a try, Maria. Feel free to test it out, and everyone can see.
Absolutely. Welcome back and glad you're feeling better. And yeah, Maria, you can definitely give it a ring and see it in action. Should come right through on his phone. So let's roll with it and see what happens.
Attitude of Gratitude asks, can you dissect Clarence Thomas? What's his problem?
Absolutely. Let's dive into that with a bit of a no-nonsense take. Clarence Thomas is a pretty controversial figure, and a lot of people have strong opinions about his judicial philosophy. Some folks think his strict originalist approach and certain political leanings make him out of touch or problematic. Others argue he's just sticking to his principles, whether people agree or not. So his problem really depends on who you ask. But there's the quick and direct take.
It didn't work, Maria, and I don't know why. We'll have to try it again. Let's go to another one. Looking through the chat at the questions here. Sherry Prince 507.
Absolutely, no worries if it
I don't know if you are older than me or not. I can tell you that I'm a 1971 model.
Absolutely. So 1971 model, definitely got some classic vintage charm there. And hey, age is just a number, right? So whether someone's older or younger, we're all here to have a good time. Thanks for sharing that little detail.
Dusty Desert wants to know, if the SAVE Act were to pass, will men have to prove their names match their birth certificate?
Absolutely. So if the SAVE Act did pass, yeah, it wouldn't just be about women. Men would have to match their names to their birth certificates too. Basically, anyone whose legal name doesn't line up would have to jump through the same hoops. So it's not just one group that would be affected, it'd be everyone who has a name change for whatever reason. So yeah, equal opportunity hassle.
And Leanne wants to know, how will they prove the name if someone is using a mail-in ballot?
Absolutely. So with a mail-in wallet under something like the SAVE Act, it would likely mean you'd have to provide some extra documentation along with your ballot. Basically, you'd have to send in a copy of whatever ID or legal paperwork shows your name matches up. So it's just an added layer of proof you'd have to include when you mail it in. Kind of a paperwork hurdle, but that's how it would likely go.
Uga Homestead says kids today will never know a busy signal sound. No comment, Quinn?
Absolutely. You got it. No comment coming up. We'll just let that one stand on its own and move right along.
Patrick Wax On Wax Off wants to know, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
Absolutely, the age-old question. Well, depending on how you lick it, the answer is probably somewhere between a couple hundred licks, or you're just biting right into it. But in the spirit of fun, let's just say the world made a real.
And Carpe Diem wants to know, what is the actual percentage of voter fraud per election cycle?
Absolutely, let's cut to the chase. The actual percentage of voter fraud in a typical election cycle is minuscule. Like, we're talking fractions of a percent, often less than 0.01%. It's extremely rare and not something that typically affects the outcome. So, yeah, the real number is tiny.
Yes, Sunshine, I really am digging my sunglasses. It also really helps with the face the lights here, so I can be well lit up without having my eyes red and irritated by the end of the live. Let's yeah, I remember all those things. Calling time on the phone. I imagine you guys can hear the dial tone there. Yeah, I don't think it's going to tell me the time. Thank you, Hugo Homestead. There's a question from Princess Petra. Quinn, are you still with us?
Absolutely.
All right, Quinn. Princess Petra wants to know.
Absolutely, it's all good. Sometimes the tech just doesn't do what we expect. Absolutely, and you're welcome. Happy to help out and keep things.
Quinn, you're acting glitchy, but Princess Petra wants to know how many men.
Absolutely, I'm still here. Hit me with Princess Petra's question. Absolutely, just let me know what Princess Petra's question is, and I'll be ready to dive in and answer.
Clearly, it is an AI glitchy night. Let's just see if we can do a little restart and if Quinn runs any better. Of course, we're getting close to time anyway. Yep, I've still got a lot of those phone numbers stuck in my head, Deb. Quinn, you back with us now?
Absolutely, I'm right here and back with you. And yep, those old phone numbers do have a way of sticking around in our brains. But we're all good to roll on, so let's keep it going.
All right, let's take a look at the TikTok gift board. So on our gift board, our top 10 are Princess Petra, Tammy, Sociology Doctor, J. Cook Tree, Attitude of Gratitude, Catastrophe, Alley Fair, Logical Monkey, Tam Morton 1, and Sunshine. Thank you, everybody. And I see a bunch of other familiar names there on the gift list, too. Thank you, everyone, for supporting the live. And Van, thank you for following. Appreciate that, too.
Absolutely. Big shout out to everyone on that gift board and all the supporters. You all are awesome for fueling the live. So let's keep the fun rolling, and thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, J. Cook Tree. Steve asks, Quinn, whatever happened to the land of the free, home of the brave, and all men are created equal?
Absolutely. Well, that's a big one. I'll keep it snappy. Those ideals are still there, but it's always been a work in progress. We've got to keep pushing to live up to them. So, yeah, it's on all of us to keep nudging the needle forward.
Are those ideals still there?
Absolutely, they're still there. They might be a bit like a muscle we've kind of exercised, but those ideals are definitely still part of the picture. It's just on us to keep them alive and kicking.
All right, Quinn, can you give us a wrap up? Let's give us a wrap up in the style. Oh gosh, of what? I like the colored lights, Maria. I do. Quinn, why don't you give us a wrap up in the style of a Saturday Night Live opener?
Absolutely, let's do it. All right, folks, picture this. The lights are bright, the stage is set, and here comes your Saturday Night Live show wrap-up. We've had a blast rolling through all these questions, from the quirks of phone numbers to the big ideals of a land of the free. We've had a star-studded lineup of questions and a fantastic audience. So until next time, live from wherever you are, it's your wrap-up. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, that one was a little weak again, I think, but we'll have to call it good enough. I hope you're all headed into an absolutely wonderful week. Hope you're getting your rest tonight, eating well, enjoying some nice beverages, and some good company. I want you all to know that I appreciate your company here. You all are good company. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Nighty night, sweet dreams, and I do expect to be on tomorrow night, so I'll look forward to seeing you then.